Oh, God, yeah, he'll 1,000,000 times to 1.
We made it. Welcome
right?
to another episode of the Heels Forever podcast. I'm your host, Kenny Edelman. With me, as always, my boy, Brody James. Brody, we kind of had an eventful / uneventful week, I guess, this week in WWE. How did you feel about how the week unfolded?
I think we had a lot of steam at the top of the week. Everyone was excited about where it's going, and then I think they hit a small road bump on Friday night that they're gonna have to recover from this upcoming week for sure.
Yeah, when we were texting Saturday morning, and I had told you, I'm like, man, I looked at the clock and it was 8:40 or 9:40. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're now going to a commercial break. I think we got maybe like 13 minutes of interaction. It just didn't feel, it felt rushed. It felt like we didn't get enough of what we needed to get.
100%, man. And I think, well, it would have felt less rushed if we got something we didn't already have.
True.
Like The Rock did his promo on IG and then went and recited the whole thing line for line in the ring as if nobody's seen the promo earlier in the day. I would have liked just something a little bit different there. I mean, give me a schmaz, give me give me them brawling it out. Like, I need something, bro. But what I don't need is just the repetitive, kind of like marketing stuff. So
Yeah, and that's my thing too. I don't know if it's like, obviously The Rock's a little bit older now, but he's still, in the mix of the advertising and Instagram and everything like that. You know how many people follow you, bro. Like, how many people are going to see this promo. So either don't post it on Instagram if you're going to give it to us 10 minutes later on TV. Like, we've already seen it, bro. So they could definitely brush up on that. I did love the Cody slap to The Rock though. That made me smile a little bit for him.
I did. I like the return. I like the receipt for the whole thing. I was fine with that. But still, like, there was no pizzazz on the whole segment, so it didn't hit the way it should have, no pun intended.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, I know we still have, I think, 4 weeks from today until WrestleMania. So a lot of time left with no PLE in between to kind of build off of it. So, maybe they're just kind of easing it in and giving us a little bit at a time just because there is so much time in between. They just need the filler. But I don't know, whatever they had on Friday just wasn't enough for me.
Absolutely. I agree with that fully, bro. Drizzling shit, they call it.
Yes.
So
And
that it's been my mantra for the week.
Yeah, just so you guys know, I didn't, up until 10 minutes ago, I didn't even think the podcast was going to happen tonight because we couldn't get shit to work. So fingers crossed that it stays up.
Absolutely.
So let's get to the biggest news, I guess, this week in WWE. Apparently, Prime and WWE have reached an agreement for some advertising. They're going to be with the Prime logo in the center of the ring for every PLE. I fucking hate this. I feel like this is not like, I get it, the UFC, and they have their advertising in ring and everything like that, but that's not what this is. How do you feel about it? Because I hate it.
Not my thing, buddy. Hey, listen, you're talking to the wrong guy, though. In my opinion, like, they should bring back the red, white, and blue ropes.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, I don't know. I just think it's all very, like, overproduced. And I think once they start doing things like this, it is going to change the industry. It's going to change the business. But sometimes, like, just because you could doesn't mean that you should. And I think that they're going to find that out too. I mean, if they want to get in the direction of where the UFC is going as far as like sponsorship and how they brand everything, as far as TKO, I guess I could see that too. But I mean, like, don't take away what makes it.
Yeah. That's my thing too. Like, I get it that the advertisement is everything right now. Instagram, X, Facebook, you want to get it everywhere whenever you can. And with WWE having the following they do, I understand the move, but I think it could have been like an apron logo, or something that runs along the runners when they have the visuals up. But
Yeah, the LEDs on the
yeah,
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 absolutely, bro. They can run that for 5 minutes on the. I mean,
yeah,
you have to have it in the middle of the ring. Miserable.
bro.
Not
Like,
with it. I wish
and
we had like you know what I'm saying?
and no disrespect to Prime, because I think, like I told you last night, I think the drinks that I can just put it in the water and go, I love them. So it's not that I don't like Prime, it's just it doesn't make sense. But what is starting to make sense, transitioning, you're starting to kind of get more of a breakdown of what's going to happen at WrestleMania. The seeds are being planted here. Over the past couple of weeks, we've had Grayson Waller, Austin Theory, Randy Orton, and a little bit of love triangle is what I like to call it at this point. But
Love
what do
it.
what do you think is the ultimate plan here? I know we kind of tossed some ideas the other day about what we thought, but I want you to kind of share with the viewers what your ideas are as far as what they're working towards with this angle.
I think they're working towards an angle that's gonna get these guys the exposure that they need to bring them to the next level, to be looked at as main event guys.
Mhm.
And I think that's what Randy Orton does, and I think AJ Styles will do the same thing. I said that about LA Knight. I just think there's certain guys that you feud with that have a certain legacy in the business that you benefit greatly from a
Yes.
feud with them. Taker was one of them back in the day. Like I said, Hunter was one of them back in the day. Before he couldn't get in the ring, guys would have to go through him to get to the next, they'd main event Mania the year after or whatever.
Mhm.
Uh, you know, I think it'll do the same thing for these guys. At least I hope so. I
Yeah,
like them. I think they're young, they're talented, but
I think you're right. And to kind of go off of that, I think the way it should be set up, and maybe I'm completely wrong here, like I usually am, but in my mind, you have these two young guys. You have Kevin Owens and Randy Orton, who have all kind of been showing as of late to have a problem with Logan Paul. Um, throw in LA Knight and AJ Styles into that equation, and I think you could have one hell of a TLC match for the US title at WrestleMania.
yeah, I agree as well. I think you floated this to me off camera, and I agreed with it then. I think it'd be smart booking for them to be able to utilize all these guys in one place when they all actually need the exposure, because
Mhm.
you're bringing back The Rock to headline the whole thing, and
On
I'm
both
sure he's gonna
nights.
have something to do with night 2 as much as he's interfering in night 1 already.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, listen, bro, the promos are cutting it, but anyway, back to the young guys. But yeah, I think I don't know. I think it'll be a good spot for them at Mania, and especially with a title online means that much more. It's actually a good chance for somebody to hop up and grab that thing and shake up
Mhm.
the US title and maybe give Logan Paul something to run for.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, and I know it's kind of a hit or miss with him, but I wouldn't mind in the next, like, leading up to SummerSlam, maybe a little bit further out than that, but I wouldn't mind seeing Logan Paul in the heavyweight title like scenarios. I think
No, I wouldn't mind either.
I would not mind at all. Like I wouldn't mind seeing Seth Rollins and Logan Paul do it again. I think that would be a good feud to kind of go off of for that. Obviously, it kind of depends on what happens at Mania with Drew McIntyre too. So I don't know, man. They got we say this every week, but they have so much talent on the card now, on that
Yeah, they do.
roster, and it's going to be tough to kind of fit everybody in there. So I'm just trying to think, how can we get the most guys in the ring and still, put on a great show and not have something dumb like a battle royal that nobody really cares about?
Got you, brother. I agree.
So
Let's
yeah,
let's we got someone in the guest room.
okay.
So I told him 7:30. This is our first time having the target demographic on the show, which I love. So let's see what he's got to say about the product and where it's going. We're gonna bring in my buddy Lyle and his son Jason. Let's get them
All
in
right.
here about the product. What's up,
Yep.
Lyle? How you doing, bud?
What's up, guys?
Yeet.
Nice.
How you
Yeah.
guys doing?
All right.
Yeet.
Yeet.
What's
How's
up?
it going,
man.
fellas?
It's going good, man. Thanks for stopping by. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, thanks.
So,
This is my son, Jason.
Hi.
what's up, Jason? How you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. You like wrestling?
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, Lyle. First, how long have you been watching wrestling? And what's the biggest moment that you can remember that kind of got you hooked?
For me, I'm going to be 51, so I'm an old dude. So I go way, way back. So actually, what brought me in was the first WrestleMania. While I didn't go to the live event, in the arena, my
Mhm.
father was a teacher at Tottenville High School, and back then they put it on the big screen in the auditorium of Tottenville High School.
Okay.
So we actually got front row because my father's a teacher, and we watched it on the big screen. That was it for me. Like,
Yeah.
even though I watched it every week, watching that on the big screen, and then I was in the newspaper. So for a little kid at that time,
Oh
I
yeah,
remember,
it's everything.
yeah, it was everything. And then just
For sure,
watching
man.
every week. My father taking me with my brother to Madison Square Garden. I grew up around it.
Mhm.
I was a kid into comic books. I wasn't like sports kid. So for me to actually see that, those are like real life superheroes. When you're
Right.
those aren't just comic books anymore. That like Hulk Hogan coming out. I saw Hulk Hogan. I saw Piper. I saw the greats back then.
Mhm.
Madison Square Garden.
Nice, Lyle. Love it,
Yeah,
bro.
and it's especially once you see them in a real life setting, and you're like, man, this is somebody who I've looked up to, who I've idolized, and they're a real person. It's not something that was projected in a movie or whatever.
Mhm.
What they look like is what they look like. So
Yeah.
it's always, I definitely know where you're coming from on that. To where it just makes you love it even more because you feel like you're getting that feeling you had when you were a kid, so that it's always there.
Yeah, and then even as a kid, we have, out here on Staten Island, we all know Jim Hanley's Universe, right? So back then, Jim Hanley's Universe was in Elkeyville. It was right by the train station, right there. It was really tiny, but they used to have wrestling stars.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, they had wrestling
Yeah.
stars coming. So they
Yeah, I
had
remember they used to
really
do like the
wrestling.
signings with the
Oh,
the
that's
rest with
dope.
the figurines
Yeah.
and all of that. Yeah.
Yeah, so they used to
Absolutely.
come in.
Kenny's from Ohio, so you're talking about Eltingville. He's like, bro, I don't know, but
Yeah, I'm
I
like,
know
I
what
have
you're talking
no
about. I
idea.
remember. Yeah, they used to and some of the superstars would come out, and it was like a
Yeah.
train. You'd buy like Christmas trains and
Mhm.
vintage toys and
Mhm.
etc. But yeah, they would show. I remember that
Yeah, and then
vividly.
with the rock and wrestling era. So back then they used to
Yeah.
all come out for the rock and wrestling era.
Yeah, for sure,
that
for
was
sure.
That'd be
special.
so dope. That
Jay,
would be
who's your
solid.
favorite guy in WWE right now?
Ooh, there's a whole lot of new wrestlers, a whole lot of I can't tell.
But who's your favorite?
What'd he say, Lyle?
I don't know. It's cutting out a little bit.
So who's
Yeah, it
your
was
favorite
cutting out on
wrestler?
him.
My favorite
Tell him to talk like
wrestler-
into the computer.
My favorite wrestler
Take a
right.
miss. There we go.
My favorite wrestler.
There you go, bro.
Is Jay.
Jay Uso.
Yeah,
Yep.
but yeah,
Jay
you
Uso?
know what? We went back to the holiday show at MSG, and let me
On the
tell you,
26th, like the day after
Yep.
Christmas show. Yeah. See, I told you, Kenny. It's classic in New York.
he outworked everybody.
Yep.
Yeah.
Even CM Punk at the end of the night gave
Mhm.
him flowers. Like he nudged him. He gave him flowers. He showed respect because he knows he outworked everybody.
Yeah.
Nice.
And
Yeah,
when
I
you
like
saw,
Jey Uso.
and you saw Monday night when he went against Drew, like he was destroying. Three minutes interference, like he had that. Like, that guy is, he's totally underrated.
Yeah, definitely.
for
I
sure,
can
man.
I can agree with that. I think we've said it a couple times on the show where I would not mind seeing him get a shot at the title in like a serious storyline, not a one-off that he had with Seth Rollins. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of hoping they let him get a little bit of a run after Mania, depending on what happens. But
Well, I would have loved to see that Floyd match not be Seth.
yeah,
I think that would have brought this whole storyline together. like Seth is like, okay, the first night of WrestleMania. I think if you have that with Rock, I think put that family element in there, like that would have just
Yeah,
changed
true.
the whole storyline, and it would have crushed. Yeah, I think Seth is alright in that, but I think if Jey Uso in there, that would change the whole dynamic.
Yeah, I agree with that too. I think, and that's the good thing too. It's, not just with Jey Uso, but they have so many guys that, they can kind of plug and play, and, they can change the whole aspect of how the matches are going to be. Jey Uso being one of the bigger guys that can do that. So, yeah, man, I do hope that they have some nice things in plan for him, because I feel like he's worked his ass off to get where he is, and he deserves it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
but I think it's gonna be we're going to WrestleMania. So we're really looking forward. It's gonna be my first probably WrestleMania in person because I watched it on TV or pay per view.
Hmm.
I've never been to the actual live WrestleMania. So for me, bringing him, that's gonna be a special night for us.
Yeah.
And we're really looking forward to it. Like me growing up, I never sports kids. I used to have comic books and so I mean, he's not like really a sports kid either. But it's like something that brought us, closer together as father and son. That's
Hmm.
why when you see Dad 316, and I use that because that meaning behind it. I know that but like, as a dad, share this with him. And
Hmm.
growing up, myself with it, it's like special moments. I have a million videos of us going, pictures.
Yep.
Look back, be with my grandpa one day.
Hmm.
It's family legacy.
Yeah. And that's the beautiful thing about it. I remember the only WrestleMania that I've actually been to was the first one after COVID, when they had it in Tampa. So I drove from Ohio to Tampa, and I ended up taking my dad with me, and it was the first show he's ever been to. He wasn't really a wrestling guy, but he was like, I'll go with you. You got an extra ticket. And he loved it. And so, like, I'm glad that I have family members that like it back home too, because every time I go back home, we end up going to like some little show that they're doing at the Civic Center or whatever. So it's nice that, let me put it like this: as much as I hate that they don't have the Attitude Era anymore, and they're not doing those things anymore, I do love that it's something you can do with your family, and kind of pass that on generation to generation. So that's dope.
Yeah, buddy. Is he there?
I can't hear him.
I know.
Can you hear us?
Barely. It's
It's
like
hard.
going
Yeah, it's
very
really
light
hard,
and in and
man.
out.
Yeah.
I got you. I got you. I got you.
Can you hear us?
All right, guys. We'll it was great to see you, Lyle.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, man.
And
Sorry we
Jason.
can't hear you. But thanks again.
Yes.
We'll definitely get you on again too.
Yes, Lyle. I'll hit you in the messages. Yeah, you guys come back on too. I
Yeah,
want to
definitely.
hear more of what Jason has to say about what's going on right now. But
Yep.
I appreciate you guys for sure. Dad
All right.
316. Enjoy, guys. Have
Thank
a
you,
good
guys.
night.
You too. Thanks.
All right, man.
Dang, yeah. I just was like, that last thing, I was like, man, I can't hear anything on that.
I know. But great
no.
though to go into like, this is probably the same kind of conversations I'll have with my son in
Mhm.
10 years. You know what I mean? Like taking him to events, it affects people in a lot of ways, like the
Yeah.
WWE. So
Well,
always.
and I think the one big thing too, it's like, no matter what the fuck you have going on in your life, when you go to a wrestling show for 2.5, 3 hours, that's the only thing that matters at that point. So it's a good way to kind of shut everything else out and kind of put you back in a place where you're enjoying the moment.
Yeah, I agree. Very wholesome, bud.
Yeah, we'll definitely
You
get
know
him
what I'm
back on though, man. I feel like
Oh, Lyle, hell yeah.
there's a lot of shit that I had to ask them that I didn't get to. So we'll
Correct.
definitely have you back. Real quick, I want to do a little bit of a superstar spotlight because again, Tiffany Stratton wins again. She beat Meechin this week. I don't think it's going to be very long until she's going to be the champion. How do you feel about it?
Probably
Am I
not.
overstepping?
No, not at all, bro. Not at all. I think that when you first said it, I was like, oh, new one on the roster. Let me check her out. Let's see what's going on. You know what I mean? And then I see the in-ring work, and then I see the persona. I follow her on IG. I'm like, right, she's got everything's tightened up. She's ready for a decent push. So yeah, I could see it, dude. They need something else too. You could see by having Becky and Rhea that they're getting thin.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they could have did Becky. They could have did Rhea and Bianca, Rhea and Jade Carter. I mean, there was some few things they could have. You know, they could have popped out with, but you could tell when they were going to who's going to draw.
Yeah,
Becky
you
Lynch
got to go with
inserted.
the golden goose on that one, so I don't blame them.
Right.
But no, I feel like the women's roster going into not so much up to Mania season, but after that has a lot of potential. You know, if Stratton keeps performing the way she is, and then you have Jade Cargill, who we haven't really seen a lot of yet, but I think she's going to be one of those, you know, overperformers as well. So you're going to have a lot of young talent, and it's going to be,
Oh yeah.
it's going to lift
Big
that
time.
division up completely.
For sure, buddy. I agree with that. I've been getting more into the women's division, bro. I know we were not against it. We would never be against anything women's anything, but I'm saying like we
Yeah.
you know kind of felt that they made the women's product a little stale. There was no oomph in it. There was nothing to be excited about.
They needed to
You know,
tighten it
it's
up.
correct. And they
And now
did. And they
they're
did.
starting to
Maybe
do that. Yeah.
the show, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's gotten a lot better even since the podcast has started. We're seeing a lot less. No disrespect, but we are seeing a lot less botching. You know, it's it happens every once in a while. Still, they could still clean up some things, but they're doing a lot better in my opinion. They're keeping me engaged too, so I can't be mad at it because it's not like, you know, a couple months ago, there was a women's match on. I'm on my phone the whole time. I'm not paying any attention to it because it was just so stale. And now you're finally getting new people here to kind of refresh that whole division. So
Yeah, for sure.
cannot complain about it. I was just looking at something and I wanted to get your opinion on it. Where did it go?
Shoot, let's do it.
So, do you the men's tag team division right now? Where are we going? Like, what do you see happening going into WrestleMania as far as the tag team titles go? Because I feel like, you know, we're 4 weeks out and we haven't really gotten anything on it.
Well, we'll get Priest and Balor obviously against one of these up and coming tag teams, dude. Probably who did they just face? It was Butch and
Yeah, Butch and the other guy, the other little guy.
I know, right?
Shit.
I got you. I know I'm drawing a blank on him too. You have the guys from Imperium. You got
Yeah. I would like to see the Creed brothers again.
that's what I'm saying,
They've
bro.
been off
I was
TV
just
for a
thinking.
while, bro, and I'm
Yeah, I
trying
mean, we
to
got
be like,
DIY too. You got Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa sitting
right.
there, which is great in ring work for the tag team division at Mania if that's what you're trying to do.
Yeah, and they'll definitely draw a crowd too. It's tough.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I want to see. Let's just make it a whole fucking night one is just ladder matches. You know what I mean? Like, we'll get
Bro.
a tag team ladder match, little TLC action.
Yeah, TLC match for sure. Like this one that they're doing in like that we think they're gonna do for a ladder match for Logan Paul's title, like that should be like in a cell.
That would be
That
dope.
whole thing should be in a cell.
Should
Night
be like
one. That'll be the gimmick match night one, and then night
just
two.
give us a special edition elimination chamber at WrestleMania.
Yeah. Video game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
The video game, dude. The video game is actually dope. I was a little skeptical, especially after last year's wasn't the best in my opinion, but
Yeah.
they definitely hit gold with this one. I like it. So this isn't an ad, but if you are thinking about buying it, do it.
I gotta get new systems to get this game, bro. And I will, for sure. I will. Like, I have no doubts, but
Yeah,
it's
I know
like,
you will eventually.
still a game, cuz.
Um, so what do you think the plan is for Sami Zayn? Do you think he's gonna be the one to? I guess let me preface this. So on Monday, we're gonna have a gauntlet match for the number one contender for the IC title to face Gunther. Who do you see winning it? Do you know the lineup, or do you need me to read it off to you?
I feel like, I mean, I have an idea. You could read it, but I mean, like, I have an idea. I mean, we're gonna get Chad Gable, Sami Zayn.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Let me see. I'm pulling it up here.
I feel like
So
they put Pikes on here too.
Yeah, Ricochet.
Not
Um,
bad, actually.
the dude with the big head from Judgment Day that I can never remember his name.
JD McDonough.
Yeah, JD McDonough,
The original
Chad
McPike, bro.
Gable.
The
Yeah,
original.
right. Sami Zayn, Nakamura, and Big Bronson Reed.
That's actually not as bad as I thought it was.
No, I don't think it's bad at all. The only one that doesn't
Solid
really
match.
need to be in there for me is Ricochet but he is a good jobber though, so I get why they kept him there. Like he just
right.
comes in to get the shit kicked out of him,
Yeah, all the time. They don't give this guy anything with any substance either, Ricochet. It's
No.
foul. For somebody with such great in-ring work, they probably like, oh, this guy's a high spot artist. He get nothing to get invested in. I mean, bro, his girl is the announcer. Like, there's no angle
Right.
there for you. Like, you can't give this guy any heat that his girl's the announcer. Can't get him
Yeah.
no heat. That's crazy.
I know they just kind of like leave him on the roster for when they need an extra body.
Yeah, like a ladder match that's coming up. He'll be fucking first and foremost in a ladder match. Bro, hit this, go through 6 tables.
Money in the Bank,
Yeah, we
you're
might.
in, dude.
Yeah, correct. Exactly. Which is coming up too in July. I've seen the PLE rollout for the first 6 months of the year. Actually, the first 8 months of the year.
Mhm.
And they still haven't picked a location for SummerSlam.
No, they announced it.
They did?
Yeah, they announced
Done in Cleveland?
Yep.
Nice.
So yeah, we'll be there. And I told Eden last night, I said, listen, I said, me and Ray are going to SummerSlam in Cleveland. I said, we're probably going to buy the package because I mean, if it's 1,500, $2,000 and I'm sitting in row 2, I get to keep the chair. I get to meet a couple superstars. That's what we're doing, son.
100%, bro. We're gonna pod from the hotel. Anyone that is interested and will be streaming probably the whole weekend for SummerSlam weekend. Probably everywhere we go, dude. I'll have the live rolling.
Yeah, fuck it.
Yeah, 100%. Especially if we get the package going.
We can get you like a little camera that you can pin on your shirt or something and just record the whole weekend.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, 100%, bro. Listen, we'll have a great time covering SummerSlam for sure. I wish we could have did it for Mania. I would have loved Philly, but I really don't love Philly in the beginning of April. Even the guys wrestling are gonna be like, "Oh, dude, we're usually in California, bro." You know what I'm saying? Or in like some kind of fucking like closed up stadium.
Yeah, I would have if I wasn't moving at the end of this month. I would have definitely been all about going to Philly. But I don't know though. I feel like once, like, yes, obviously WrestleMania is always the goal. But if I know SummerSlam's going to be in Cleveland in July or whenever the hell SummerSlam is, August, honestly, I'm probably still picking Cleveland over Philly. But I guess I'm a little biased on that because I've never been to Philly.
Yeah, bro.
But,
Yeah, I mean, that's true. I've been to one, not been to the other, but all right, fair play. So anyone that tunes in, I mean, we'll probably be.
Yeah, if you've been to both, let me know.
Season 3, bro. We'll be well into season 3 when this happens. So tune in for season 3.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm lining up a couple spots where we can go grab some tacos and I'll show you the city. It'll be a good time.
Nice. I'm excited.
So where was I looking? So yeah, I think as far as the Intercontinental Championship gauntlet match goes, I need to see Gable or Sami Zayn win this. I don't really care to see anybody else except those two win. Mostly just because of the great matches that Gable's already put together with Gunther. And you know, we've said this before. I don't think the dude's ever had like a singles run as a champion. So like give this man some gold already.
Yeah, not any consolation kind of gold. Like give this guy like a real title. It's a
Yeah.
workhorse, bro. And
And
they should.
and Sammy too. I mean, I love Sammy regardless, but he's always going to be my pick, especially with, in my opinion, a bunch of mid card guys who,
Ah.
you know, shouldn't be in the match in the first place.
Yeah, I got you. I feel you on that, bro. That's kind of how I felt when you're like, "Oh, should I read it off?" I was like, "Well, I remember Sami Zayn, Chad Gable, and I was like, well, then there was a bunch of other, you know, I knew Mick Pike was in there actually without knowing, but yeah, so
So I'm gonna switch over really quickly because I just saw something clicking over through these WWE pages over here. But
nice.
on Monday we have Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark challenging
Okay,
the Kabuki Warriors for the tag team titles. How you feeling
gotcha.
about that one? Who you got?
Mm, the Kabuki Warriors.
I think so too. I think that the angle with Bailey is still too high right now for them to lose the titles. I know it really has nothing to do with it, but if you're trying to show like that they're a dominant faction, I think a bad move would be taking the titles from them at this point.
Correct. Yeah, that's for sure.
All right. We'll do this segment very quickly too. I don't think we talked about this before we went live, so it might be for throwing you in the fire, but you got a match of the week?
Mm, not really. Nothing really stuck out to me this week, dude. This
All
was a
right.
very bleak week. And usually
Yeah.
like my superstar of the week, you know, I mean, my highlight of this whole week was Seth Rollins frying up the Rock for a good 2 minutes and then giving that segment the oomph it needed. That's like just my moment of the week. Everything else disappointed me.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. And I think this was like one of the weeks where I was actually awake to watch the entire run of Raw. Usually I don't make it until the end just because I do get up a little bit earlier.
Gotcha.
And then I made it 15 minutes into or before SmackDown was over. I fell asleep, which was a shitty move on my part. But this was like the first week that I was like, I'm not really that interested in it right now, you know?
Correct.
And I think it's because we still don't really have any idea of what's going on as far as the rest of WrestleMania. Like, yeah, we're being shoved The Rock and Cody and Roman and uh, Seth Rollins. It's getting shoved down our throats, but besides that, we really don't have a clear vision of everything else that's going on, and they're not really giving us anything yet.
True.
So, like I said before, I don't know if it's like a stall because we do have 4 weeks until WrestleMania, but at the same time, like I would love to see 4 weeks worth of rivalry being built up as opposed to, 2 or 3 weeks, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. I mean, listen, bro, they could have did this whole angle like at Chamber or something. I think the fact that we've had this for 3 months now is kind of like, all right, bro, all
Mhm.
right, we know Rock's back. We know he's a heel. We know it's fuck your story. Like, well, what else you got, bro? Where else are we going with this? You know what I don't like as well, too? Roman is saying like nothing. This guy's
Mhm.
just like lottie fucking da on his way to WrestleMania. Like, that's what I'm sitting here like, what is he doing? Like we're getting more spice out of The Rock and Seth Rollins than we're getting out of the two guys that are actually going to get in the fucking ring and duke it out for the belt.
Yeah, but at the same time, I kind of think that that's part of it. with The Rock, and this is a theory of mine, so I'll just go ahead and throw
Okay.
it out here. But I think
Nice.
I said this last week, but I'm expecting The Rock to do a turn on night one, um, and end up, getting the bloodline banned, and hopefully Cody gets Roman 1-on-1. Don't think he's gonna win just because Roman's so close to the record, but I think, they're kind of building up to that with The Rock trying to be the more boisterous of the two, trying to assert his dominance while acknowledging Roman, if that makes
Got
sense.
you. Yeah, I could see
So
that.
I could see that being the case, but it's been a lot over the last couple of weeks, but at the same time, it feels like we haven't gotten anything. So I don't know if
Understand.
that's the ploy to kind of keep us interested in it, because it's like, yo, give me something else. I need that next step. So we'll see what happens. But I do remember you running a theory by me last night, something that involves Seth Rollins, something that no one else is really talking about that could potentially
That
happen in Mania.
that he turns on Cody. But I also think that, I mean, I don't know about The Rock turning night one. I mean, I think you let Cody and Seth lose night one. And I think if The Rock's gonna turn, it should be because the bloodline's ringside.
Mm. Yeah, I can
I
see
think
that too.
I think it should be the bloodline's beating the shit out of Cody Rhodes in the middle of the ring. And then this guy don't rock bottom Cody Rhodes. He rock bottoms Roman Reigns.
Hmm. Yeah.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
mean,
Get the and that's the turn. It puts Rock back over. But now you know why it doesn't work though, because they're talking about Rock and Cody for SummerSlam like that. He'd have to turn again. So I don't know. We'll
I
see.
mean, not necessarily. They could kind of do an angle where he does cause Roman the title, but then, kind of say to Cody, like, hey, I essentially won you that belt. Now I want my shot at it, without
Could be
him
that too.
essentially having to do another turn, I guess.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, man. Hopefully the next week or so of wrestling does get a little interesting. Especially going into the season that we're going into.
Lyle commented on
Yes,
yeah,
sir. Hell yeah. Can't wait, Lyle.
absolutely.
Cannot wait. Um,
We had more comments too.
we
I'm
still
so
stuck
stuck
on
on
WrestleMania
WrestleMania
18.
18. Yeah,
Bro,
correct.
come on. Yeah, I know. WrestleMania 18, man. Honestly, I think I'm more still fixated on 17 for me. That TLC match is one of the best matches I've ever seen in my life, and it always holds a special place for me. So I can understand getting stuck on watching that, especially because back in the day they were all great. Like, they were always banging cards.
Correct.
So I don't really want to spend that much more time on wrestling this week. As we stated, there wasn't a lot of stuff that went on that we really needed
True,
to
true.
discuss. So, we kind of came together trying to figure out the next step. And, we just kind of wanted to give you guys an update that now we're also going to be covering the UFC, um, combat sports. And then, as we're going through NFL season, NBA season, maybe some baseball. We'll figure that out as we
Yeah,
go.
if it gets exciting enough, we'll hit you with the stats.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you straight up, like, I don't really watch the NBA until the playoffs, so you're not gonna get that much out of me on that either. But
Yeah, me
once
neither.
everything starts going, we'll be bringing you more content as far as the other things, because I know, especially a lot of my friends and a lot of the people that I associate with, like, they still don't watch wrestling to the level that you and I do. So
I know.
just trying to give them something to enjoy as well. So let's talk about that, man. We had UFC 299 last night. Um, was a
Ooh.
banging card. I feel like we talked about this last night, but it definitely should have been, in my opinion, that should have been your UFC 300 card. Like, compared to
I would have kept Max and Justin Gaethje,
yes.
but everything else, like I thought it was good too.
Yeah, and it was, just like when you were telling me what the card was for 300, no Connor, which, Roadhouse is coming out, which cannot wait to see.
No
I think it's going to
Connor.
be great, but especially you don't have Connor. That card for 300 as of right now is lacking compared to the card that we got last night. The card last night was insane.
Oh yes, the card that we got last night for UFC 299 was one of the better cards that Dana's put together in a long time, and I smelt it brewing back in January. I knew there was a lot of these guys that were going to be available because they kind of weren't on the end of year cards.
Mhm.
So I'm like, that's always a tell to me too. Like, who's fought recently? Like, who hasn't fought recently? What are we gonna get? What's up and coming? And I know, like you said,
Yeah.
like no Connor on 300. We'll probably get him at like fight week, like
Mhm.
304, something like that, 303 maybe. But the card last night was phenomenal, bro, top to bottom. Watching the early prelims and watching the actual prelims, a lot of UFC last night. We were actually together for it.
Yes.
We were actually at the house watching it. You know, let's talk about the main three fights.
Okay.
Well, I'm gonna open up because this is a good one that I wanted to talk about. Was MVP Michael Venom Page versus Kevin Holland.
Yeah, so I was going to ask you about this one because this was after I left your house. I was actually at Cricket's during this
Nice.
fight. So, when you texted me that he was coming out to the Undertaker's
Yeah, bro.
entrance, I was like, yo, that's sick. But I
And
don't.
Taker retweeted him this afternoon too.
Did he? Hell yeah.
Yep, 100%.
But I don't really know a lot about MVP. So what is it about this guy? Did he get lucky? What happened during this match? Because I missed it.
I'll tell you this, bro. The guy is a very gifted athlete. He's a very, very gifted striker. He did his work in Bellator. He did the work that he had to do to get to the UFC, and I
Mhm.
like that his first opponent was Kevin Holland. What I seen though in the octagon is that this guy went for points last night. This guy didn't go for a knockout. This guy didn't go to go in there and finish
the
a guy.
safe
He went
bet.
in and bro, he danced around the octagon. Everything was a sidestep. At one point, Kevin Holland was like mocking him, like, bro, like, why are you running from me, bro? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
Kevin Holland's chasing him around the octagon. It was cool. He landed a few shots, but it wasn't like what I was expecting.
Right.
Thought that was going to be a lot different fight than it really was. Not to say it was disappointing. It wasn't, Rose and, and Carlos Esparza. It wasn't that bad, but Francis Ngannou, Derek Lewis. But it was, it wasn't what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I want to see him now. I'd like to see him in there with, someone like Kamaru Usman, man. You know what I mean? Like MVP versus like Colby Covington.
Mm-hmm.
I think they went at it at 170 last night. I want to say. I don't think they were at 85. I'll check again. Let's see. Yeah, they were at welterweight. They were at 170. So, hey, listen, this kind of you take a risk when you come into the UFC, and this guy, I feel like this guy went for the points last night. Everything else, though, the production of him, how he was presented to us this week, I liked it. He was in all the countdowns. He was in all the commercials. They used the name. They gave him the right opponent, but this guy didn't want to fight last night. You could tell he was like, I can't lose this fight.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was like, maybe he's got that like nervousness of I have to win this fight by any means necessary. So
Absolutely.
I get it, but at the same time, this better than anybody. That's not something that we want to see, especially when you're paying $80 for a fucking pay-per-view. Like you want to see the knockouts. You don't want to see somebody who's going in just to be point win,
Correct. That was a great fight. Dustin Poirier smacked the shit out of Denise with a beautiful, beautiful right.
Yes.
Shout out to Dustin Poirier, absolute animal and demolition fucking job on this guy. That's a trained, special forces officer. So that's no feat in itself,
Right.
But Dustin Poirier is a dog, man. Shout out to Dustin Poirier. I think he's gonna get back towards where he should be to get in line for the title. We'll probably see him in Islam come June, July, something like that.
Well,
And then we got the main event.
really quick, just to touch
Go ahead.
on the greatness of Dustin Poirier last night. Like, you knocked out a dude who's probably killed more than one person with his bare hands.
Yeah, for sure, dude, for
Like,
sure.
no, like I saw that dude in the ads for the
Yeah.
show, and I was like, yeah, no doubt he's killed somebody. Like,
Yeah, right.
dude just
Yeah, he was no
looked
joke, man.
nasty.
He hasn't had an opponent that he hasn't finished.
Yeah.
Guy don't go to decision. I mean, they didn't go to decision last night, but he hasn't been decision before that either. So,
And
um,
one other shout out too before we get into the main card, because I do want to talk about the main card. The opener that Piotr Jan and Song Yadong
yes,
was a great fight, dude.
yes, it was.
I think,
Yes,
and
it
they
was.
they said that kid's 26.
Yes,
I think you're gonna be hearing his name a lot going forward, even though he did lose. I think that kid's got a bright future in the UFC for sure.
absolutely. It's Peter Yan, bro. Piotr Yan. That guy's a savage. Guys from the
Well,
Russian
yeah,
mountains. This guy's
yeah,
trains
he's
in
a
the
savage
snow,
too. I
bro.
mean, he couldn't beat O'Malley,
Yeah.
but you know, he's still pretty
Correct,
good.
correct. Facts. All right, we got the main one, and then we actually had a question come in, so
All
we'll
right.
post that up, and then we'll get a take on that. Sean O'Malley versus Chito Vera too. Did
Mm-hmm.
you get to see? Did you peep
I
highlights?
did.
Did you?
So my buddy back home, he had texted me about the fight, and I told him, I was like, "Hey, I'm at Crickets. They don't have it on," and he was watching it on some website, so he shot me the link. And I got to catch this
Nice.
one, and man, O'Malley looked fucking amazing, dude. No disrespect to Marlon, because he was a savage in that fight, but when he got hit with that fucking knee,
I know, bro. Woo!
I felt it in
Woo!
my
That fucking
face,
knee, bro.
dude. I was like,
100%.
damn.
Split open. You can see
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, Joe Rogan on the replay was like, "Run that back again." I rewatched the fight today, like just to get a better grasp on like how it was. You know, I was like sleepy. I'm like, "Oh, bro, it's 12 o'clock." Anyway, but fucking Rogan said he told the production team, "Run that back. I want to hear that live." And then they kind of isolated it, and the smack that came, bro, it sounded like a metal baseball bat cracked this guy in the face.
Dude,
Still
and
didn't go down, never been dropped. Shout out Chito Vera, even though he lost.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say, man. Like, his face has to be made of solid steel to not go down off of that, because you know it was one of those shots where there was waves coming off of this dude's face to the rest of his body. And
Correct.
to just take that and not go down, he's good, but you know, I think we all had a feeling that O'Malley was taking it, so it wasn't really a surprise to at least me myself.
Wasn't a surprise to me either. I mean, I knew why he lost the first fight to him. Didn't really impress me. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, which fuck the
I kind of
UFC
felt
for not mentioning that last night either. It was like, oh, you know,
nah.
his only loss was to Cheeto, but they never told you that the dude couldn't walk after the first 30 seconds in the fight.
No, of course not, bro. They got to build the anticipation. They can't have people thinking
Trash.
he's coming in here sleeping a guy that he should have slept on the way up. There'd be no. They got to sell the pay per view, bro.
Yeah,
But yeah, shout out to Sean O'Malley. Great victory, dominant victory. Beat the shit out of Chito Vera for 25 minutes. And you know, shout out to him, man. Another one I'm sure for Chito Vera. I know he called out the 145 champion. Dana said in the press conference afterward he has no desire to see that yet. He said he wants him to fight a couple more 135ers first, like at the division rolling. Don't stall it like everybody else.
Right.
And then I'm sure we will see him at 145. But shout out to the Sugar Show.
Yes.
Victory Sunday for the Sugar Show. I'm sure he had a great time in Vegas last night. Miami. That's right.
Miami. Oh, he had a hell of a time in Miami last night.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, absolutely.
Which poor planning.
We did have a question come in.
All right.
That's it. Very poor planning on our part. We could have been in the mix on that. All right, let's see what we got here.
Off topic. What do you think of Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson? I'll tell you what I think about it, Lyle. I think it's a fucking cash grab. I think I was talking to my dad about this last night actually on the phone because he was talking about it. And I was like, dude, it's got to be more scripted than any show you've ever seen. And the fact that they're putting it on Netflix for free tells you everything you need to know about it.
100%.
I, because let's be real. Yeah, Mike Tyson's what? Is he 70 yet?
Bro, he's 60.
Okay. Even still, 60 years old. In real life, Jake Paul would not stand a fucking chance with this dude. Like, not a chance. I don't give a fuck if he was 70 years old.
Correct.
Iron Mike's just that guy. But
guy cracks you, bro. You're done.
But don't get me wrong, I'm gonna watch it. If I don't have to pay for it, but I won't pay Netflix if that's the case to watch it.
No, I think it's gonna be a stream. I think if you have Netflix, you'll get it. That's the same thing that's gonna happen with Raw, bro. And you know what I also heard too, because Ariel Helwani is a great journalist.
Mhm.
He was like, I'm reading over the press release for the Netflix thing, and they never said that Raw was gonna be on Monday nights.
Yeah, they're talking about switching it all up, dude. Like, there's nothing set in stone yet for any of it. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I read something maybe a week or so ago that when SmackDown goes to USA, they're talking about moving it to maybe Tuesdays again.
Interesting.
So I don't know. And I also think it's fucking weird. Like, why can't we just get both those shows on either one channel or one streaming, or like, why does it have to
different
be
deals, bro? Different contracts. It's not putting all your eggs in one basket. I mean, if you never know what happens, especially live TV.
But that's the thing, man. Like, now I gotta pay for cable and Netflix just to keep up on Raw and SmackDown.
You know what I'm saying?
I
got you, bro. I got you.
Also, really quickly too, I didn't think about this, but shout out to Almeida last night for the most takedowns in the first round, only to get absolutely fucking beat down in the second.
I know, dude. I know. We were sitting there like, oh, bro, tell me this isn't going to be this kind of night. Like, where everybody's going for the leg, bro. Everyone's shooting for their life. I'm like, bro, tell me this isn't going to be like this whole slow style for the evening. Like, I need a little bit of on the feet, bro.
After the Gamrot fight, I thought that's what we were getting the whole night. I was just like, man, this is a rough start.
Snooze fest. And that's why they don't make any money, bro, because they do stupid shit like that. Dana's not paying anybody $50,000 to watch that. So that's fair play.
When Blades had him locked down and was just hammer fisting the shit out of him,
I went back and that uppercut did work. That uppercut did connect. Yeah, I went back.
I watched the playback a couple times, but it was always still a little bit too quick. Like,
it's a quick one. He came from like underneath. Yeah. Like, he had him almost in the guillotine, and he popped out, and then he popped him up like this. It was nice, really. When I went back and watched it, so
yeah, man, I'm excited, I guess, to get back into. I used to be big into the UFC back, when I was like 21 to 25 in that demographic, I guess.
Yeah.
And then I kind of got out of it. Like, I would watch anytime like John Jones or O'Malley. O'Malley's always been my guy. I've been watching him since he was on the low undercards. But yeah, man, I'm excited to kind of jump back into it and get everything going as far as the who's who and the 300s right around the corner.
Absolutely, dude. Great time for the UFC. Great time. It's almost like their Mania is coming up, so it's pretty good.
Yeah, and it's got to be better than UFC 100. I'll never forget that one, but terrible. But yeah, man, I'm excited to start getting some more things on the show. Getting viewpoints and sharing those with everyone else. Especially, I cannot wait for football season now.
Yes, sir.
With the Browns trading for Jerry Jeudy on Saturday, I instantly went on to fired up Madden. I was like, all right, I got to see how you roll in this offense, bro.
I love it.
I can't wait.
I fucking love it. Good job, Settlement. Good job, my guy.
But man, I'm all set for the week. I think I pretty much covered everything that
Oh,
I had on
whoa,
my mind.
whoa. One point of the week we did not cover.
What did we not cover?
Francis Ngannou getting
Oh,
absolutely sparked by Anthony Joshua.
you know
That's
why
what
I
we did
didn't?
not
I didn't
cover,
even
dude.
think of it because it was a fucking shit show, dude.
That's a fair play.
Like, how
That's
do
a
you
great play.
how do you go with Tyson Fury at the level you did, only to get knee buckled by Anthony Joshua?
Oh, bro.
I
Oh
don't
my
get
God.
it.
Dude, I watched it live. I was actually excited. I got home from work Friday. I got home from the office like, I don't know, like 4:00, 4:30, something like
Mhm.
that. I had an hour to spare because I was hearing rumblings that they were going to start walking out like 5:30. I was like, oh, this is mint. They wound up not walking out to like 7:30. So I watched a lot of the matches beforehand, and then I seen it, and he didn't come in as fresh as he did against Tyson Fury.
Mhm.
You could tell he made 6 million, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
You could tell the guy's been wearing fucking silk pajamas for 6 months. You know what I mean? So you can't really, you could tell, bro. Like I see the way he was throwing body shots at Tyson Fury and the way he was just cupcaking Anthony Joshua. I said, oh, bro,
Yeah, he
you
was like,
can't,
just
you
give me that
can't, you're not
money.
gonna win like this. No, bro, he got absolutely sparked. Just a classic 1-2, parry jab, right hand across, boom, right after
Yeah,
being knocked down two
fucking hit the
times.
Dougie on his way down.
Yes, dude. Yes, buckled back. We
Uh,
love Francis Ngannou though, but that we can't not talk about that. So, all right, brother,
yeah.
now I'm done.
Yeah, man. Well, thank you guys again for taking time out of your lovely Sundays. I know we lost an hour, so I'm getting ready to go to bed because I'm fucking exhausted. But we appreciate everybody as always. Lyle, if you're still watching, we'll definitely have you on after Mania for a recap. Can't wait for that.
Yes,
But yeah,
100%.
other than that, I'm all good. Have a great week, guys, and we'll see you back here next Sunday at 7:00.
Yes, sir. Peace.
Oh, God, yeah, he'll a million times to one.